Hey gorgeous souls, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of my videos today. So today's video is a podcast episode from my Spiritual Queens Badass podcast, and this interview is with the lovely Leanne Brown, who features on the Real Housewives of Cheshire. So you probably recognize Leanne off TV or from the Real Housewives, and I have watched the Real Housewives show for years and have loved all of the ladies. So seeing them so spiritual, seeing them so into the law of attraction, I had to get Leanne on the show, and as she's rebranded into her spiritual business, I am so excited to be sharing this interview with you today. So in this interview, we talk things all divine feminine and how the divine feminine energy is rising. We talk about taking back your power. We talk about the things that are going on in the world currently. And this is such a deeply enriching conversation. So I really hope you are going to enjoy this and take lots of amazing pearls of wisdom away from Leanne and I's conversation today. And of course, I have a whole collection here on my YouTube channel of video interviews from spiritual experts, gurus, and authors just like Leanne, sharing their pearls of wisdom and sharing amazing content. So do make sure to go and check that out as well. So I really hope you're going to enjoy this episode, and please let me know what your biggest takeaway is below. So thank you so much guys for watching. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all. And don't forget, you can also join my free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook, where you can join myself and other like-minded souls, where we talk all things Law of Attraction and spirituality. I hope you have a fantastic week, whatever you are up to, and I'll see you all in my next YouTube episode, which will be on Friday. Lots of love. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me for another one of my Spiritual Queens Badass podcast today. I am so excited to have the gorgeous Leanne Brown with us. So Leanne, if you don't know, is best known for appearing on the Real Housewives of Cheshire. Leanne was an original cast member who left 4 years ago to embark on her spiritual journey. Since then, she has helped create huge awareness for charity and is a patron for One Woman at a Time, providing sponsorship for young women and girls that are at risk or subject to female genital mutilation. Leanne is also the host of Love, Peace, Truth, Karma podcast, and now runs Divine Feminine retreats across the globe. Leanne's mission is to spread love through meditation, conscious clothing, fitness, and well-being. Welcome to the show, Leanne.
Thank you for having me, Emma. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm just sort of recuperating my energy from the last week, because I've just come off the Divine Feminine retreat, which finished on Friday. But obviously getting back from Mexico, it's just been a whirlwind since. Like, I've got back, started the Divine Iconic show, and it was my birthday. Then I was at the retreat, and then it come back, it was Lola's birthday, so it's just like non-stop. So I'm hoping after next week things will just get a bit more calmer again. So much going on, but it's good. I'm enjoying every single moment.
Good busyness, definitely. And like, I saw your stories from Mexico, it looked amazing. So it's nice that you've been able to have some time away, come back, celebrate you and your daughter's birthday, and do an amazing retreat as well. Awesome. So before we dive into all the goodness that you do, one question that I love to ask every guest that comes on is, when did you spiritually awaken? What's your story?
So I think it was in the midst of the show, towards the end of it, really. I was always quite in tune spiritual, but I never really wasn't reading the books, and I wasn't like meditating, but I was having crystal healing for many years. Lola's now 11, so I started doing that a few years before she was born. So it was sort of like a slow transitional period where I was becoming more open and aware. And obviously with the crystals, the lady that did it, she spoke about angels being with me. So leaving the show, obviously meeting Tanya, we met before the show, but Tanya is just like all into her angels and obviously self-help, and read Tanya's book. And she was a real driving force for me to like read this book. And then I started to become more and more aware and more interested in the well-being and spirituality side of things. But yeah, leaving the show really caused me to do some real soul searching and wanting to learn more, wanting to find my purpose, because it was such was such a toxic environment towards the end of the show. And it was actually the charity work that then obviously I throw myself into that after the show. And I'd already been writing my self-help journal and talking about meditating and affirmations and law of attraction within that. So I'd sort of been writing that for the last 12 months of the show. And then obviously leaving the show the following year, I released it after I'd done the charity, been doing like the charity work and traveling to Kenya. So it's kind of just been like a slow transitional process. It wasn't like I woke up on one morning and I thought, right, I'm going to be spiritual. Do you know what I mean? I think with most people, it's a bit like that, isn't it? It's like, it's just you start become more open and in tune with things, and then more things align, and then you start learning about things through reading different books. And yeah, it's a journey, and it's one I'm absolutely loving.
Good. Oh no, it's amazing to hear. And obviously watching the show from a viewer's perspective, obviously you could see the toxicity, you could see the arguments, and obviously we see like a proportion of it. Like I'm sure we don't know half of it, but
No.
when you left, I thought, I think Leanne's done the right thing, because it was so much to watch as a viewer. So I can only imagine what it was like living that every single day for yourself and wanting to, protect your peace, right? And to realign back into where you were meant to be, which is obviously doing all of this. So I remember when I first started watching the show, I remember Tanya was always quite spiritual, very vocal about it. And then obviously you spoke about it more. And then throughout the show, we've seen like psychic readings, all these different things that they've gone and done. So do you feel like it was actually really refreshing as a viewer to see spirituality spoken about and all these fun things that you went and did as a group of girls? But do you feel that that was true, or do you feel that like the spirituality was reflected, or do you feel that a lot was for cameras? Like, in your opinion, do you feel that it was great to kind of portray that spirituality out into the world?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny, isn't it? Because obviously there's that all like, oh yeah, we're really spiritual and we're going to meditate, and then it's like, you bitch, like, the next scene. But obviously that was the contrived part. That was the production side of things. They want the drama, so they pushed us into like having the conflicts and the arguments, otherwise they didn't think it was entertaining enough. So it was quite hard to sort of be showing that side of us, and then obviously having to do the arguments after. But yeah, it was definitely authentic, what we were portraying and what we were feeling, and being able to push that. Yeah, it was nice, because the nice bits were nice. Do you know what I mean? The fun bits were fun, but it was just that side of it. And I don't know, like, it's that perception of, it's like the world, isn't it? Like, there's so much fear and violence and hate and all the rest of it that goes on in the world. But then if everything was lovely and love, like there was just joy every single day, how would we know how that felt if we didn't have them down? We were exposed to things when we were lower, because we wouldn't know any different. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's important to understand we are obviously only human, and we do have like dips, and we can get angry and we can get fearful, and but it's just what's important, and what I always want to portray is it's just important to become aware of that and not stay there, and lift ourselves back up, which I suppose the show sort of did that in a sense, like it showed the trials and tribulations of the ups and downs of our lives, but in a quite a forced way, if you will, at times, which I didn't like.
Yeah, and I suppose they're filming everything, aren't they? So it's not a case of you get to pick and choose what aspects or what's happening in your life that the world sees. They want that as such.
Yeah, but they didn't film everything. That was the point. People were like, oh, they're just following you around. It was just like a couple of days a week, so they'd specifically pick out bits and pieces, like ask you what you were doing, and then say like, oh, we're going to film this, or what's going on in your life. Or, well, if you didn't really have much going on, then they'd like create something for you to have, do you know what I mean, an event or something. So yeah, it was it wasn't intrusive, but it did consume you. Yeah, it did consume you, because on the show it was like the drama was going on. Off the show, you're talking to all the girls about it, then you're carrying it home and talking to your family and friends about it and how upset you are. So it totally consumed me, and it not in a good way. So that's why I knew when it was time to leave, it was definitely time to leave.
Definitely. And like you say, we see that real human raw emotion. And I think that's what makes it so relatable in some ways, because you're seeing normal everyday people going through all things in life, whether it's birth, divorce, marriage, education, whatever, starting a business. We saw all these, really inspirational aspects to all of you as well. And all the, like you say, the trials and tribulations of life. And I think, like you say, that polarity is needed to make it human, to make it raw, and to say, do you know what? People do struggle sometimes. People do go through hardships. Not every friendship is going to be rosy and sunny all the time. And this is real life. This is our feelings and emotions. So yeah, I feel like we've all come on that journey with you guys, and it's amazing to see what you're doing now away from that show as well. So let's talk about your work then, Leanne. So how do you work with the divine feminine energy, and what are your favorite tools and practices to use?
Well, I mean, on the retreat, it's just been such a beautiful experience to be involved with, and it's all just aligned so perfectly. Like, I did the podcast, I sort of wanted to do retreats, like my meditation and stuff with Leanne, and I interviewed Jess on my podcast, which I absolutely love that woman to bits. Like, I call her Wonder Woman, because she literally is Wonder Woman, and how she juggles everything just absolutely fascinates me. But she was just like, we need to do a podcast retreat. Let's do a retreat. And I was like, yeah, okay. So and just it's kind of just exploded from there, being on that retreat with these women. It's the second one we've just done in the February. The first one was November, and we just didn't expect it to go so well. We were literally bringing each other in the other room going, do you think it's going well? Do you think it's going well? Do you think we're liking it? Yeah. And it was like, to see yours, I was like, oh my God, it was just beautiful. Like, there's so many aspects to it, and it's such a deep healing experience and intense. Yeah, just how do I embrace divine feminine? Probably by connecting with myself. I actually do a little bit of like yoga stretch in the morning on the retreat, and I always, incorporate the women to actually just tuning to them, and touch your body and move with your body. And that's something that is we don't do that enough, touching yourself, and think like just connecting with your hand, rubbing your body, like it's your body. Like, give it a stroke, you get in tune with that feminine. Dancing is also a beautiful way to get in tune with the divine feminine. And affirmations, beautiful affirmations about telling ourselves how beautiful we are and how powerful we are. And for so long, women have been suppressed so much. The throat chakra has been so blocked, and not able to be ourselves authentically. And it's not about being like working all the hours or being the person that brings home the money. That's not about femininity. And that's like the bringing out the masculine side, which I feel has been pushed so much over the last years, and people have got it mixed up, I feel, with the divine feminine. Is about stepping forward. Divine feminine is really getting in tune with your authentic self and not being afraid to speak your truth, but in the same time not disregarding the men in our lives as well, which I feel like men have had the opposite, where they've been feminized through hormones, been put in the water and the foods and stuff, and we can see it in our very eyes. And it's quite frightening, because it's almost like men are being demoralized. And when I don't know about you, when I see a man wearing a mask, it knocks me sick of it, because I think, where is your masculinity? Where, do you know what I mean? They should be stepping forward. And I do feel the women are coming into their femininity, their divine, because they're the ones I feel that are stepping forward and speaking the truth more than the men. I'm not saying all men, because thank God there is a lot of men that are doing it, but I feel like there could be much more, because we need men, we need the protection, we need the love, and from them, that's another thing as well that's been divided. It's like the family unit is being separated. It's like women can do it on their own, and men and women in family going back and forth. But I've seen magazine articles, and on the front cover was only women with their children. There was no like men in the mix, and that's what's being, it's subliminal. It's it's subliminal messages constantly, and women, just if we just took the time to actually just reconnect and embrace our femininity, and not forget that men are just as important.
Absolutely. And with the rise of the divine feminine, I think, like you say, it's almost like, well, that's going to take over, and it's not about one being better than the other. It is that equal balance, bringing both into balance and harmony, and both energies within ourselves as well. So it's not about bashing the divine masculine. It's not about saying it's our turn now, like, not at all. It's really about uplifting the feminine and balancing, the toxic masculinity that exists in the world as well, so that we have that harmony and balance and equality, essentially, in all walks, in all forms. So yeah, I love what you said there, because it's so true that as women, if you identify as women, connecting to your body, feeling into it, feeling into that feminine energy, but also balancing our masculine energy as well as women, because then we can use both for manifestation, for all sorts of amazing things, but feel in harmony for ourselves. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They want that divine feminine energy. They're like, I'm going to balance my feminine energy, but actually we need to have both there in balance to experience the benefits of both as such. So I love that, and I love your tools. Dancing is one of my favorite things to do as well. I love it, and it just really gets that energy flowing through your body, doesn't it? I love how it helps you connect to your body, your femininity, and there's just so many great ways we can connect back to ourselves, because like you say, there's so much desensitization to women as well, of connecting to their bodies, their pleasure, their sexuality, whatever. And I feel like we're really starting to explore that more and connect back to that with all the amazing stuff that people are putting out there. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, 100%. It's almost like we've been led to feel shameful for doing that, in a sense, in so many different ways, and even different religions and stuff like that have sort of, they've been suppressed as well, haven't they? And I can see like on socials of women actually dancing, and and I love to see it. And it's definitely changing. I can see the change in the world, in everything. I think it's like a beautiful destruction, if you will. It doesn't feel too great to a lot of people right now, but I feel like on the other side, which is coming, I think obviously the awareness and the exposure, we're sort of in the midst of the storm at the minute, aren't we? And I do feel naturally consciousness is rising, and then that's enabling people to see the truth. And then, like for myself, I shared so much on my social, which obviously led me to get my account taken down. But it was kind of like the best thing that happened for me as well. Like everything, you say that everything happens that feels like trauma and really bad, and is also the best thing that happens to you, because it helps you to grow and learn. And that made me take a step back and think, that's it was obviously me having that following. It made me think, oh, who am I? Am I actually Leanne Brown Instagram following of 240,000 people with a blue tick, or am I the person? And I'd actually signed up to do the boxing event before, and I was like, oh my God, they might not use me now because I've not got an Instagram following. And people are like, of course they will. They've bought into you, the person, not your Instagram following. But obviously it's not always the case, is it? People look at your Instagram following and just are buying into that. So I was grateful for the boxing, because it really gave me a focus after that happened. And it made me think about right, I don't really feel like, if anyone's not willing to research or get onto what's going on now, are they ever going to? And I've done as much as I can to wake people up. And I had so many people saying, thank you for your post, you've really made me realize what's going on, and blah blah blah. But then I thought, because of my meditation and stuff, I really wanted to focus in on that, and doing that on a live on a Monday, and try and do the lives and the talks and uplift people and tell them, there's nothing to worry about, and it is a vibration that we need to keep rising our vibration to live in harmony, because ultimately we are responsible and have the power to create our own reality, which you obviously know that as well. As Dolores Cannon says, our reason for being here on earth is to learn how to manipulate energy, because we are all just energy. And if we're projected, everything is projected through fear, through the media and the TV, and we're buying into that and believing it, we're also going to create that reality for ourselves. So, and another quote, as Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. We has to start with us, doesn't it?
Absolutely agree with all of that. So you love going on retreats yourself, and you host retreats in your Divine Feminine retreats. So why is it good, in your opinion, to go on retreats and try new spiritual experiences?
Because it's growth, because it's learning, and we should all be growing and learning all of the time. Otherwise we just stay in the same place, and what's the point of living if we're just here to exist? Doing the one in Mexico was an amazing experience for me. It was something that I needed at that time, and I experienced with the plant medicine over there, and the ayahuasca, and I didn't actually get what I wanted out of the ayahuasca, because I don't feel like I surrendered enough to it at the time. But it hit me, because I thought I was going to have this huge emotional release, and on the last day it hit me. I was like, hit me right around the face on the plane getting home. I was like in tears, and but it's a journey. I think they call it the grandmother medicine, and it is a journey, and it stays with you, and it's a constant shift and a constant learning, and it's just how allowing things to align. So yeah, that was a beautiful experience for me doing that. But yeah, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, it's so important, isn't it? And I went there on my own. I did know a couple of people on there, but when we see the women on the retreats, that the 2 retreats that I've done so far with Jess, the change in them is just so beautiful. Like one particular lady come on this one, and her energy was like, it was so withdrawn and tight, and you could tell that she was it was like unable to just be open and be able to connect. And within a 24 hours she was like a different person, and just so relaxed and funny. And it was just beautiful to see. By the end of it, we were all sitting in a circle sharing everything we'd learned and everything that we seen in each individual person. And we didn't finish till 2:00 in the morning, because I was like, just say one word what you feel about each person, and then it ended up being paragraphs and big speeches, because we just couldn't hold it in. And it's just such an emotional experience, but it's needed to heal as well, because we all have trauma in our lives, even if we think it's insignificant. And that's been apparent to me learning about the belief code in which Jess has created, which is incredible, and it is literally blowing up. I've done the course to be a facilitator, but I've got a lot of training to do, and the breakthroughs that I've had and seeing the breakthroughs that the women have had on the retreats has just been amazing. And how it works, you'll know with yourself with the shadow work and going in, you can have therapy for years on end and just regurgitate what's happened to you. But until you change that belief system and actually go into that memory or that reflection, you're just going to repeat the same patterns and do the same thing. So it's powerful. It's powerful. Yeah. And I will just say about the retreat I've got coming up in Portugal, which isn't the Divine Feminine one. It's just one that I'm doing, the first With Love retreat. And it's the collaboration with some guys from Stark Fitness. So it's not just women, it's men and women, which obviously the dynamics will change, but there's going to be more fitness involved, but we're still going to be doing the holistic side of it. I've got Craig Seaton doing the breath work, who comes on the Divine Feminine, plus Amy, who does the sound, and we're going to do the workshops and everything, so there is going to be the holistic approach, but also the fitness approach, and obviously men being welcome as well. Funnily enough, one of the girls off the retreat just messaged me saying, I've told, like, if I've got a few guys that are friends, and they're like, I wish they had something for men. So it's like, get them on my Portugal one. But yeah, so that's going on the 7th to the 14th of May as well. So yeah, that's exciting. It'll be in the sunshine, which will be beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a dream. I want to be in Portugal. So that sounds awesome. And I'll, of course, put links to all of Leanne's work and her website in the description so you can find all the information about everything she's sharing in this podcast. So let's move back on to Real Housewives of Cheshire then quickly. So what was it like being a part of the show? And obviously we've spoken about, obviously quite a few of you were spiritual. Was it easy to express that on the show, or do you feel that you were met with judgment? Like, how was that spiritual side of you all received by the viewers, by the production, etc.? Was it easy to put that out there?
Yeah, like I said earlier, they weren't they didn't have a problem with us, you know, following like the spiritual side of things. But it's hard really, because you can't really show it properly on there. Obviously Tanya promoting a book and her jewelry and stuff like that, and the ethos behind it. But when we were doing like the actual scenes and stuff, you know, it's to sit there and just watch somebody meditating for 20 minutes, it's not going to make any good TV in it. So there has to be a little bit of giggles or a bit of this or a bit of that. So yeah, it wasn't rejected, but it's just really, it's difficult to sort of get the authenticity of it, you know, on the show, because even though it's called reality TV, let's face it, it's not reality, is it? The kids used to like moan about having to get in and out the car 15 times to do like the takes, because they can get it from every angle. Like, not again. They were actually saying, "You're going back on it," and they started watching it. And I was like, obviously when I was doing the boxing, they were dead excited. And I was like, "You going back on it?" I was like, "You hated doing the filming when we did it." You know, they hated it because it was just like over and over again. But yeah, it is what it is.
Exactly. And it's nice to, like I said, see a reality TV show that does talk about all those things, because even if, you know, you're getting people who have no awareness of those things at all watching, you know, if they're like, oh, that looks cool, or oh, I want to give that a try, you know, it's great to just see a mainstream show actually talking about those things, because it is not common. So I think that's what I really enjoyed watching about it.
Yeah, definitely. It was fun. Even like all the other little classes that they did, like the yoga trapeze and stuff like that. So they do always try and like put something diverse on there, something a bit different, you know, the vampire facial that we had. And but ultimately it's about vowing, isn't it?
So was it hard then transitioning away from being a TV star into a spiritual guru? What challenges sort of arose for you with that?
Judgment. Just seen a robin fly in my garden. Oh, and my Auntie Mildred just died yesterday. I wonder if it's her. I always think it's my nana. Oh, sorry. What was the question again? I just lost my train of thought now.
That's all right. We'll take the signs, a lovely sign at that. So was it hard transitioning away from being a TV star on the Real Housewives of Cheshire to a spiritual guru? Were there any challenges? You said there was judgment. So what were you kind of met with as you changed?
Yeah, I feel like when people see you on that show, it's sort of like, and obviously because I've been married to Wes, and you know that WAG title, which I always disliked a lot, but yeah, it was just like just judgment of people, like because of they've seen me in the show, and obviously not seen me really promote this stuff, and who are you to tell me that, like, oh, you can manifest anything when you've got a nice life and you don't have to worry about anything? And you know, it's like, okay, well, don't do it then. See where it gets you. You know, people would rather, and that's not, it's a reflection on how they're feeling about themselves. And that's something I've really had to deal with, not just coming out and doing the spiritual stuff, but actually in general, that when people do troll you or hit out at you, it is just ultimately a reflection of how they're feeling in their lives, and nothing to do with me. They say what other people think of you has nothing to do with you, and that is so true. I know it's hard sometimes, but yeah, I did struggle a bit with the judgment. I've probably felt more judged than I actually was, maybe. But obviously, then speaking out with the stuff that I have done, I got a lot of like negative thrown my way. But by that point, I feel like I'd just grown such a thick skin doing the show that it just didn't bother me as much. I was able to reflect it. So, but yeah, no, I've just enjoyed the transition, and I think now. Funny, actually, one of the girls on the retreat that I actually know worked in a local shop here, and I've seen her numerous times, and obviously she'd seen me on the show and know me as being married to Wes, and all the rest of it. And after we'd done the self-love workshop with that, which I teach, she'd said on the last night, she said, I've just had no idea that you had the knowledge and you were into all this stuff, and I didn't even know you'd written a book, or so there's still a lot of people that aren't aware of things that I've learned and grown into in my journey. And but yeah, I think it's just learning how to deal with that and letting it go. And that's something I have actually belief coded. I actually really struggled speaking on Instagram for a long time, and with regards to just doing like lives and stuff like that. And I started doing on Shinny's page the meditations and stuff, and it was like I was all right to do that on Facebook, because I felt like not many people who were following me would know me on there. But when it came to doing it on my own, I was like, oh, these people know me, like, my friends and stuff, that were thinking, who does she think she is? She can't teach meditation. She can't, the stuff, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And but yeah, I actually just belief coded that, and that's what just unlocked something. And then I was able to do the lives on my own page as well. So yeah, it's been a transition, and I do still feel judged sometimes, not gonna lie, but then it's just that awareness, isn't it? And then clicking back into that authenticity and knowing that it's not about you, it's just about them.
Exactly. And like you say, once you've shifted that belief, that mindset, you can view it from that point where you're like, okay, these things still happen, those things exist, but it doesn't impact me the way it did before. And you can come at it from a different point of view, a different feeling and thoughts. So I think it's important for people to hear that, of you're still probably going to get imposter syndrome, we all do, you're still probably going to feel these negative thoughts every now and again. That's just our ego, our inner child, our subconscious. But if we rewire it and we obviously have that belief code, like you say, then you're not taking it to heart, you're not taking it in and saying, oh, this must be true, you're just witnessing it almost as like a third party of like, this is happening, but it's not impacting me anymore. I'm not feeling triggered by it. I'm not feeling it's personal as such. So I think it's a great way to look at it, like you said. So my last
it's like an onion, isn't it? It's like an onion, like we're all onions, and we're constantly it's a constant journey and a constant working progress on yourself to know that even if you feel like you've healed one thing and then something else might trigger you or pop up, it's because then something else needs healed that's related to that. And it's just, that's why that the belief coding that Jess does is just amazing as well, because it does just that. But yeah, it's constant.
It really is. You get to it and you're like, right, okay, so I've done that inner work on that bit, great, fabulous. 6 months later, something else. And I think that's what I hear a lot as well from people of, I've been on this healing work, I've been on this inner journey, and like you so beautifully said, it is an onion. It is really that unfolding of peeling away the layers, as you said. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So my last question to you today then, Leanne, is what is one piece of life advice that you would like to leave my lovely listeners with today?
So don't be afraid to step into your authentic self. For so long, through my life, I felt like I made myself smaller than I actually am, and to sort of dim your own shine, a fear of stepping into your authentic self. And don't don't just put up with a mediocre life. You know, if you're not happy, get back to the roots of who you really are by following your true passion and things that actually make you happy doing. And then you won't have to work a day in your life, because everything will become aligned. And you don't need to you shouldn't have to fight to get what you want. It should come to you. If you're in your authentic self and you're in a line with the universe and yourself, there will be no swimming upstream. You'll be on that boat and you'll be floating down without a paddle.
Yeah, love that. Love that analogy as well. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Leanne, for coming on. Honestly, it's been such a joy having you here. And just, yeah, thank you so much. Where can my lovely followers find you if they want to learn more about your work?
So with Love Leanne, with.love.leanne actually on Instagram. My new website is launching, which is withloveleanne.co.uk. I'm so excited for that. I've got some new conscious clothing products on there. My podcast is on there, my upcoming events, and I'm actually introducing a fitness page on there as well, with some nutrition and fitness exercises that you can download. Obviously, the podcast is Leanne Brown on YouTube or Spotify and Apple. Love, Peace, Truth, Karma. I don't really do as much on Facebook, but I need to get on it, and I'm going to create a business page on there from the With Love Leanne as well. So yeah, and I'm on Twitter, but I don't really use it. So yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. And of course, I'll put clickable links to all the things Leanne mentioned.
Please do.
So for easy access, so you don't have to remember all of that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, the main thing is the new website, I suppose, because it's got everything on there. So withloveleanne.co.uk, launching on Wednesday, hopefully, as everything goes to plan. Just in the final stages of just tweaking everything. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, good luck with your launch. That sounds super exciting. I can't wait to see it. And just, yeah, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your pearls of wisdom. It's been an absolute joy having you on, Leanne.
Thank you so much, Emma. It's been a pleasure.